Hello, welcome once again to Lehto's Law. I'm Steve Lehto. Today we're talking about a funny lottery story out of Pennsylvania. And we often hear these stories in the news where there's a big lottery jackpot and a squabble breaks out amongst the winners or the people who thought they should have been winners, or people who were in a pool and other people weren't in the pool but wanted to be in the pool or claimed they wanted to be in the pool. And so anytime there's a lot of money involved and people, um, fights break out. You never hear about animals fighting over money. Strangest thing. So the story is out of Doylestown and involves a Doylestown Acme store where I assume they sell rocket sleds as well. But and it involves an employee and a $4 million purported lottery ticket. Here's how it works. The winnings from a match 6 ticket sold at the Acme in downtown Doylestown have been put into an escrow account following an injunction issued by a Bucks County judge. A legal battle is happening over a $4.15 million lottery ticket printed at the Acme supermarket in Doylestown. Now, here's the thing. There are rules on how the lottery works, and a lot of the lottery rules affect the people who work, the printers that print out the lottery tickets. And I'm going to tell you a funny story about the lottery a little later on, but this ticket story is tied up with the person who printed it. So follow this along now. Whether the ticket was actually purchased and who deserves the winnings are among the issues outlined in a lawsuit filed by Acme Markets Inc. against a woman from Pipersville who works at the store, and also the Pennsylvania Lottery is named in the lawsuit. All sides agree that the issue happened on March 21st when a customer walked into the store and asked for $22 worth of match 6 lotto tickets. I'll admit I very rarely play the lottery, lotto, any of those things. And when one of the super duper jackpots goes up into the hundreds of millions of dollars, I will occasionally buy a couple tickets. I used to live a block off Main Street in a tiny little town, and I could walk over and buy some tickets. So I'd buy a couple just for the fun of it. And of course, somehow I'd managed to match no numbers. I did so poorly in the lottery, I was expecting to get a bill where they said, "You owe us more money." That's how badly you did. And so what happened was the person asked for $22 worth of tickets, and then he was handed 4 slips on which several tickets each were printed. And the customer handed them back and said, "I want the tickets to be printed individually." So those unwanted tickets, referred to as unpurchased by Acme in the lawsuit and as mistake tickets by one of the attorneys, were set aside behind the counter. Now, what's weird about this, and anytime you've got a vague rule like this, you're going to have problems. And I can tell you right now, at the place I bought my tickets at, there was a big sign above the stand, and it said, "You must fill out the form." You can't just say, "Hey, give me a bunch of tickets." You have to fill out a form for every ticket. And they said, once you hand us the form and the form goes through the machine, those tickets are yours. You don't get redos. You don't get takeovers, okay? Those tickets are yours. Well, apparently, in Pennsylvania, after you get the tickets, you can go, "Oh, I don't want those tickets. I want different tickets." Huh? But apparently that's what they allowed at the time. So shortly after the 8 p.m. lottery drawing, the lawsuit alleges that the employee of the store scanned the tickets and discovered that one of them was a $4 million winner, even though no one had paid for it. So most people, there's 2 things here, okay? The good cop, bad cop. Most people would say, "Oh, well, no one paid for that ticket. It's an unpurchased ticket. It's not actually a winning ticket." But on the other hand, most people being greedy, and remember, an animal wouldn't do this, but most people being greedy would say, "Wait a second, I can buy that ticket. If I buy the ticket, I already know it's a winner. It's a $4 million winner. Buy the ticket." That's the allegation, is that the employee did that. So she is alleged to have rung up the lottery ticket on the register, put $10 in the till, took the ticket, and then declared herself a winner. She filed a claim for the winnings, and the ticket's sale was recognized by the Pennsylvania Lottery. And we don't know if the lottery was privy to exactly how this had all happened. But lottery officials, according to the lawsuit, stated they did not have the ability to halt the processing of the payment without a court order. So again, very, very strange that you've got the lottery going, well, we have to give her the money unless someone sues us. A Bucks County judge on April 16th granted a temporary restraining order and a preliminary injunction preventing the lottery from submitting any winnings to the store employee after Acme filed its lawsuit, court records show. According to the employee's lawyers, all parties have agreed to put the winnings into an escrow account until the legal issues can be sorted out. And that's a common thing. There's something that several people are fighting over. You give it to the court and say, look, we're going to fight over it, but in the meantime, let's have the court sit on it, make sure that no one absconds with it. In an email Friday, a spokesperson for the Pennsylvania Lottery acknowledged the restraining order. And in the lawsuit, Acme argues that the employee ringing herself up for the tickets was a violation of company policy, which states that employees are prohibited from doing so for their own purchases and must instead have another employee complete the transaction, which sounds like a good policy. The company further argues that stores are charged for tickets generated by an on-counter terminal that go unpurchased, and the lottery does not reimburse the stores for them. This results in Acme owning the ticket. The store is going, we own the ticket. We printed it, and we were on the hook for it the moment she took them back from the customer and said, okay, we won't charge you for these. In their own filings on behalf of the employee, a couple attorneys questioned the existence and enforcement of the register policy, adding that the company routinely allows employees and customers to purchase mistake tickets prior to a redrawing if the prize initially goes unclaimed. That seems kind of strange if you think about it. Reached by phone on Friday, one of the attorneys said that the employee had been suspended from her job even though she's worked there for 20 years. And the lawyer, of course, said she's an active member of the community who volunteers with therapy dogs during visits to schools. She also likes puppies, long walks on the beach, and she occasionally just gives money to strangers. Oh, I'm sorry, I made up that last stuff. The attorney said he's prepared to move on to pre-trial discovery matters as he gathers depositions and documents. Of course he is, because we're fighting over $4 million. A company spokesperson for Acme said they were unable to comment on internal issues related to the status of an employee. No criminal charges have been filed in the matter, and Bucks County District Attorney spokesperson James O'Malley said no investigation was underway as of Friday. Central Bucks Regional Police Chief Carl Knott, in an email, also said there is no open investigation related to the ticket. Think about this. If I wanted to and I was working at this store, I could print out a bunch of tickets, put them aside, wait for the drawing, go through them, look for winners, buy the winner, and call the other ones mistake tickets. Or I could take all the tickets, if none of them won, and just say, oh, a bunch of mistake tickets. It's one of the dumbest arguments I've ever heard. But we'll see, because there might be some laws that we don't know about. Because it seems so strange to me that the moment the ticket's printed, it doesn't belong to the person who bought it. And the question is, did the man who asked for the tickets actually say, oh, I want them all on separate tickets? Did he get those same numbers, or did he get different numbers? Because I'm surprised he hasn't come back and said, hey, wait, that was a winning ticket, it's mine. I mean, people do crazy stuff, right? I do know that years ago, back when I had a radio show in Flint, Michigan, called Lehto's Law, there was a story in the news, and I remember talking about it on the air, and I actually knew an attorney who worked on the case, where there was famously a lottery ticket that had been sold in Michigan, and I forgot which of the various lotteries it was. I don't know if it was a state lottery. I think it was a state lottery, though. But I don't know which of the wacky lotteries it was, but it was $1 million ticket at least. It was a very big ticket, okay? And I remember at the time reading in the papers about it because they had announced and said there's a ticket that's about to expire. And, you know, this always happens where the news will be told, by the way, there's a missing lottery ticket out there someplace that hasn't been claimed yet. Now, some people will wait to the last moment to claim a ticket for some odd reason, tax reasons maybe, I don't know. But this ticket wasn't going to be claimed. And in the 11th hour, as they say, a guy walked into the offices of the lottery and handed a piece of paper to them and said, I have the winning ticket. And he handed them a Xerox of it. And they said, well, this isn't the ticket. This is a Xerox that appears to be a photocopy of the ticket, but this is not the ticket itself. And he had this convoluted explanation as to why he had the ticket and a Xerox of it, but couldn't produce the ticket, but he could produce the photocopy. And the court, when he filed his lawsuit, threw out his lawsuit because they go, that's like saying I can show you a photocopy of a $100 bill and I want to buy something. No, you actually need to have the actual thing, okay? And their rules are very, very clear on this. And I remember talking to the attorney who worked on the case, and he's going, with Steve, I believe the guy. I'm going, how could you believe that? That's the dumbest argument. And I actually said, I go, how could you file that lawsuit? It's the dumbest lawsuit I've ever heard. I'm going to Xerox all my money, spend it, and then I'm going to walk into a bank and go, I want change now for all these photocopies of money that I've got here. So I've got photocopies, And he goes, well, that's stupid. I said, yeah, it's just as stupid as a lottery ticket. So I don't think that guy got any money for his photocopy of a winning ticket. But people will do crazy things. And so with respect to the situation in Pennsylvania, it sounds wrong to me that the employee could run off a bunch of tickets, set them aside, and then wait for the winners to be announced, and then make the decision to buy the winning ticket. You can imagine what's going to happen if they allow this. So it's crazy. But then again, who knows? Maybe there's some wacky rule in Pennsylvania or some wacky law in Pennsylvania that allows this to happen. So again, like many of the stories I tell you about, I will continue following this. And if anything happens, I'll update you. Otherwise, questions or comments, put them below. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.